Hi there. Welcome back to Lady Lawyer Divorce Tips. I thought I would just do a quick video here after a morning in docket court. This has been set up during the current pandemic crisis where all family matters have to go through a triage process in front of a justice. And from there, it's decided what legal process we're going to head to. Is it mediation? Is it an early intervention case conference? Is it resolution council? Is it special chambers? Are we going to trial? This is how the courts have decided to handle it to try and make the process more efficient. We've now found out that this is going to be a permanent change and is not going to go away. The beauty of it is that we're not filing documents ahead of time, so sometimes my clients can save a bit of money that way. Anyway, from docket court, I was in regular chambers, and we have emergency protection order, EPO, hearings for half an hour or so before regular chambers get started. And as I'm sitting in there waiting for regular chambers to get started, and it was started late because there were lots of EPOs, there were some things that came up that I thought might make a good video. And here was my takeaway. Most of the time, the EPOs that have been brought by an ex-girlfriend, ex-wife, has been a shock to the man involved. And quite often, he shows up for that review hearing 2 weeks later by himself, has not talked to a lawyer, has no idea of what's happening, why it's happening, what the next steps are, what he can ask for, what he can't ask for, what is the hearing even for. So, EPOs are used as a weapon in family law all the time. As I sat there listening to EPO after EPO after EPO, 9 times out of 10, it involved some using the process to remove him from the home or to stop his parenting time, things like that. What these ladies don't realize is that after a while, it's just a change in names and the facts are all the same, and it loses some credibility along the way because of it. The most heartbreaking ones were when the guys would stand up and say, whatever she wants, I want to get back together with her, she doesn't mean it. Guys, she's done with you. If she's brought the EPO, she's already put everything in place, she already has a backup plan guy in the works. She doesn't want reconciliation. That's why she's making it sure that you can't even discuss anything with her to try and win her back. She's gone all the way on this one. She's gone scorched earth. The other thing you need to know is that parenting is dealt with separately from an EPO. If you can't deal with getting access to your kids in an EPO hearing, but you bring an application to get a parenting hearing, and then you get an order for access to your kids to the parenting hearing, it overrides the EPO blocking you access to your kids. You got to know that. So many of these guys were coming in and saying, but I just want to see my kids, and the justice was having to say to them, that's not what we're dealing with here. I can't deal with that today. You're going to have to do this, this, and this. The other thing is, and I know lawyers are expensive. I know it's scary to have to contact a lawyer, but you need legal advice. You need to know, at least book a consultation with a lawyer before you get into this so that you can understand the process, because EPOs are a process. There's a set system of how to handle EPOs and how to get them removed and how to get them changed. It's a process. Lawyers know the process. It can save you time, money, and heartache to get that legal advice. The other part of it is that you can find out what your rights are and how you can cope with what's happened from a legal point of view. It's worth your time and your money to get a consultation with a lawyer who knows how to handle family matters that end up with EPOs. And to be honest with you, a lot of them do. Take the time to learn the steps and the procedure. So she has gone before a magistrate. She can do this on the weekends. She can do it in the evenings. She's gone before a magistrate and she has produced an affidavit. Sometimes she doesn't. Sometimes it's just sworn testimony in front of the magistrate, outlining all the bad and evil things you've done to her, and why she feels afraid for herself and probably the children, and why you should be barred from having any contact with her. They're going to give her one on the benefit of the doubt because they don't want to be the person who says no and then something happens to her. So they give them fairly easily. And there's always a review 2 weeks later in the Queen's Bench. You need to be there, or a lawyer needs to be there for you at that hearing 2 weeks later. Because if you don't, that's going to get turned into a 1-year EPO, and you have no record of saying where she was wrong or what was a lie or any of that thing. So you need to show up for that 2-week hearing. As soon as you're served with the EPO, you need to try and get your hands on the transcript of the hearing. Because if you have the transcript, and then you can make an affidavit and file that affidavit. If you show up for the 2-week hearing, you're still in the process that you're representing yourself. You're still in the process of getting that transcript, you still want to do an affidavit, then you can ask the justice for another couple of weeks to come back in another couple of weeks to give you time to do these things. And usually the justices will do that. Once you've filed an affidavit that is disputing what she is saying, so now we got her saying and you saying, that gets set down for an oral hearing. That's where she's got to get on the stand and you've got to get on the stand, and the judge decides on credibility who is correct and whether the EPO should stand or whether it should be vacated or gotten rid of. Sometimes it ends up being a mutual restraining order, and you can do that by consent. She stays away from you, you stay away from her, and the kids are dealt with separately in a parenting order. So that's the process. And if you don't follow that process, you can end up with an EPO on your record. If you go, by the way, if you go for the mutual restraining order, it doesn't appear anywhere. It's a no harm, no foul type of thing. So sometimes that's a way of doing it. So once you know that process, you have to go through it. There's no shortcuts. There's no go-arounds. You got to do the process. The other thing is really observe and follow court etiquette. When you're there for an EPO hearing, you're not there for a parenting hearing. You're not there to talk about support. You're not there to talk about property. You're there to talk about the EPO. Be polite to the justice. Be polite if your ex is there, which is not likely because usually there's duty counsel representing the people that have brought them. But if there's other lawyers, be respectful. Be to the point. You know, if you're just asking for an extension, you don't have to go into a big explanation. You can just say, I was just served. I'm waiting for the transcript and I want to file an affidavit. Can I come back in a couple of weeks? Short and to the point. Respectful of the court, the justices will approve of that, and you're probably going to get what you want. Do not launch into your story of how what she's done wrong, that you want to get back together with her, that you don't understand. It's not the time and the place. So don't bother doing that. You're just going to irritate the justice. Don't go there. Do the process. If you get a oral hearing date, they'll set it right then and there. You'll know what day you need to go in and provide your evidence. If you need help with an affidavit, there are options. Some lawyers will charge by the hour. Some lawyers will offer a flat fee. You can get help from court resources for self-represented people to get help, to go through, do what you need to do. How do you write an affidavit? How do you present? How do you ask people questions on the stand? What are the rules? How do you do it? What can you expect from being asked questions on the stand? So those are my points on an EPO hearing. It was very disheartening. As I'm sitting there listening, I wanted to set up a table outside the courtroom and just say to these guys, look, here's what you need to do. Just do it. Go through the process. And the biggest takeaway is you're not alone. There are lots and lots of guys in your shoes. It's a well-known tactic in family law for women to bring an EPO to try and get the advantage. It's a well-known game in family court. So that is my advice. If you like my videos and would like to share them with someone who probably needs to know the information, feel free to share, like down below, and feel free to leave a comment. Take care.